Welcome to the Viking House. Do you know who the Vikings were? They were a seafaring people. They sailed the seas in big boats made of oak and visited new lands. They sailed to Ireland, where they pillaged and plundered for years before they decided to settle and establish settlements that became Ireland's first towns, like Dublin. The homes they lived in looked like this one here, and they lit fires like this. This was before television, and this was before books, so stories were told by word of mouth. You may have heard of some of the people in these stories, including the gods. People like Thor, Odin and Loki. Stories are still told of them today. The Vikings settled in Ireland and they learned stories that were told here. One of the stories that we like to tell is the Salmon of Knowledge. A long time ago, when Fionn McCool was a young boy, he went to stay with Finnegas, the wisest man in Ireland. Finnegas knew the secrets of the birds, the animals, and the plants and the stars, and so Fionn hoped to learn much from him. In return, Fionn helped Finnegas around the house, cooking for him and cleaning. Finnegas lived on the banks of the River Boyne, and the reason he lived there was because his greatest ambition was to capture the salmon of knowledge. The Druids of old had spoken of the salmon that had eaten magical hazelnuts from the trees that grew by the River Boyne. They said that if anyone tasted that salmon, they would gain all the knowledge in the world. Even Finnegas did not know everything. Fionn would ask him many questions, and Finnegas did not know every answer. One day, Finnegas' dream came true, and he caught the salmon. He asked Fionn to start the fire to cook the salmon, and to cook it on a spit. He told him not to taste the salmon. Then Finnegas went to meditate, to prepare himself for gaining all of the knowledge in the world. Meanwhile, Fionn dutifully lit the fire and cooked the salmon. Finnegas came back, took one look at Fionn and saw that something had changed. He could see in Fionn's eyes that something magical had happened. He asked him, "Did you taste the salmon?" Fionn said, "Of course not. I wouldn't do that. I told me not to." And Finnegas said, "Are you sure? Did you touch it?" And then Fionn realised that he had. A blister had formed on the skin of the fish as it cooked. Fionn couldn't resist using his thumb to burst it. As he did so, he burnt his thumb, and he automatically popped it in his mouth to cool it. But since then, he had felt more normal again, and so he said to Finnegas, "But I don't have all the knowledge in the world. I feel the same again." Finnegas told him, "Put your thumb in your mouth." And as he did, he felt a rush. All of the knowledge in the world came into his head. Finnegas said he might as well eat the rest of the salmon now. When Fionn grew up, he became the greatest leader of the Fianna, a wise poet and warrior with all of the knowledge in the world. All he had to do was pop his thumb in his mouth and he would know everything.